Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Thursday, the 28th of May. With McShane working our way through the prophet Isaiah, we read chapter 29 today. In verse 13, Isaiah says, "The Lord says, these people come near to me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Their worship of me is based on merely human rules that they have been taught." And as I read that, I thought it's such a human thing to get into, a rules-based system. And it's so much easier to try and tick boxes for rules. If you're going to worship God, you need to offer him one lamb of such and such an age every 6 months. Measure, tick, I've done that. If you're going to worship God, you need to say prayers in the morning, in the middle of the day, and at the evening, and these are the prayers you've got to say. Take the prayer book, read it, and I'm done. Tick, I've done it. And we end up with rules taught by men. And God looks at us and says, we're coming with our mouth, we're saying the right things, we're coming and we're saying the words, but our hearts are far from him. And in the New Testament, Jesus challenges us and he says, what should we do? The rules are easy. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul and mind and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And then you step back and say, what does it look like? Love your neighbor as yourself. How do you do that? It'd be so much better if Jesus said, you must love your neighbor by giving them sort of 5 sandwiches and 1 cup of coffee at least once a day. That I can measure. And then I know I've done it and I can feel proud about myself and I can feel good. But to love your neighbor as yourself, it's an ongoing challenge. And what it says to me is that we need to come to God and say, I really want to worship you, not just with words, but with my heart. I want to love you with all my heart. I want my whole life to be lived for you, not just ticking boxes. And as I love the people round about me, Lord, help me to love in the way that you love. You've loved me abundantly. Help me to love with abundance, not just to do the minimum or even to do the maximum, tick all the boxes. Help me to love with your love. Because ultimately, that's what God has done. He hasn't just ticked boxes. He's given himself for us. Jesus came into the world and sacrificed, gave up his life on the cross for us. And so our response and our worship has to be sort of based on that we give ourselves back to God. So be encouraged that we don't have a rules-based system, because that's just too easy. And if you have rules, you can keep the rules without your heart being there. And any one of us would know that in a relationship, if somebody comes and just gives you a beautiful bunch of flowers, but you know that their heart isn't in it, they really don't care for you. They have no love for you. They're just giving you flowers. They mean nothing. But somebody comes with their heart overflowing with love for you and gives you just a single flower that carries so much more meaning. And that's how we relate to God. So be encouraged to give God what you have. And that'll look different to each one of us. And we're never going to say, there, I've done it. We can always give God more, because God gives us more all the time. So be challenged by that thought. Be encouraged with your worship. And know that we are loved. And therefore, we are blessed.